the teams that we beat, the amount of teams that we beat, and they all seem to be at home. So we used to get the draw at home, and I remember looking back at an interview actually before the Middlesbrough game. I actually get interviewed by Sky. I'm so young, and just saying people don't fancy coming here. They just don't want to do it under the lights. We had a good FA Cup run, like you said. My first game back was the Newcastle game, so that was a week before, maybe 2 weeks before. I think it was a week before the cup final. So it was kind of tough for me to take because I'd been out for 8 weeks with my collarbone. But I also got a little knee surgery done, just a bit of a cleanup of my knee. So I was out of action quite. I couldn't move my arm, and then I was on like one crutch as well. So I didn't drive. I was just a little bit. I just didn't know where I was at the time, because like you said, I'd come so high, and then just for that to happen. But yeah, it was an incredible run. The teams we played, the results we got in both competitions, and over them that 2 year period, 3 year period of I didn't play in some of them, the Southampton games, the Everton game, I didn't play in them, but to be around them, we just got a name, we got famous, and for that reason, but we were playing at a high level at that time. We were only one below the Premier League, but still the amount of teams we did beat in the division above us was incredible.
The cup final, and I know you've said you can't remember much of it, which is completely understandable because it would pass you by when you've got so much focus on the match as opposed to the occasion. But double prong question, really. How long before it did you know you were going to be playing? Because there was talk over whether it would be you or John in goal. And how do you kind of reflect? Have you ever watched it back and reflected on your performance?
Yeah, I think when I got the nod in the Newcastle game, I felt, I had then the opportunity to play the following week. And I know there's been, since being back at Tranmere, I've, obviously the older fans still remember me. And there's obviously this conversation about contracts, and John wouldn't sign a contract and things like that, and he should have played. But at the end of the day, I felt I was the better goalkeeper, and I was given the green light because of that. There was also the games that I played when I'd come in. I'd obviously got a lot of attention as well from other clubs, and maybe the club thought, this is my, this is where this is the shop window for me to be in to maybe move me on. I don't know, but there was definitely attention, and there was some clubs that had approached the club for me to move on, and then unfortunately I got injured. So I always speak to people and I go, "Oh, well, John should have played that." Well, I believe I should have played it. In regards to performance, I'm very disappointed with my performance in the Wembley Cup final. First goal, I was too involved with Tony Cottee when the corner came in, that when I tried to react to the ball, it was too late. So maybe I showed my inexperience there. But actually during the game, I actually felt really, really comfortable. I remember it was a very windy day. There was balloons that were blown right into my goal in the first half. So it was quite off-putting. But I remember I think it might be my first touch, I actually took a corner. I actually claimed the corner and threw it out for a counter-attack, and it really settled me. But yeah, I am disappointed with that first goal. And then the second goal, we usually have a man on each post. But because Clint had been sent off, we had to move a man off to mark up. And then obviously Elliott scores that kind of glancing header into the back post. But again, I can't really remember going up to get my medal. I can't really remember. I just remember sitting on the bus after the game. I think it was out with myself and Jason Kumas just sat on the bus, and everyone else was maybe in the lounge, but we were so young, we just didn't know what to do. We just sat in the back of the coach and waited till everyone got on, and we then went back to a hotel and had a bit of a celebration, I suppose you would call it, for the achievements that we'd done with all the players, all the staff, all the families, and we had a great night. And I'm sure we played not too long after. I think it might have been 2-3 days. We played Portsmouth away. Again, a really big game, great atmosphere. And I think I put in a really good performance, which kind of brought back my confidence because, you know, I knew it was such a big game for the club, the biggest probably game in the club's history. And I felt a little bit, yeah, a little bit. I was responsible, but I'd been out for a long time. I'd been out for 8, 9 weeks, and you know, to play Newcastle in the cup the week before, and then play in front of whatever it was, 75, 80,000 was. It was a great experience. I must admit, it was a great experience. Would I love to have it back? Of course, I would. I'd change many things, but that's all in hindsight. And I suppose I was so young at the time as well. You know, I was still learning.